So Will Smith knocked it out the park earlier this year with Aladdin. So let's see if he can do the same thing with Gemini Man. My name is Brandon Keith Avery, and this is just my opinion. Hey, what's going on, everyone? Thank you so much for tuning in to my opinion/review for Gemini Man. I really do appreciate it. And if this is your first time finding me and you like this video and you want more content from myself, please right now click on that subscribe button and also the bell so you can be notified when I make uploads. Gemini Man, starring Mr. Will Smith, is a film that I was really looking forward to. Love this guy. I think he's the best. It's being directed by Ang Lee. If you do not know who Ang Lee is, you should look him up. He's pretty talented. In 2003, he directed Hulk, which was right here, Universal film. This had nothing to do with the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It was entertaining at the time, not so much right now. He also directed Life of Pi, which came out in 2015 or 16. I can't remember exactly, but this film right here did win an Oscar, or he won an Oscar for best directing. So if you haven't seen Life of Pi, you should check that out. You know, it was in 3D as well, but that's kind of like a dead technology. He also did Brokeback Mountain, which got a lot of attention as well, and Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. So you have a pretty talented director at the helm of this film, Gemini Man. And so when you mix that with Will Smith, you know, oh my goodness, this is like the perfect collaboration. You know, you got action, adventure, spies and clones and things like that. This seems like it's right up my alley. So like, I'm just like super duper excited. Will Smith is one of my favorite actors of all time. So I was actually going into this movie with my expectations through the roof. But what is this movie about exactly? Well, a retiring assassin, Henry Brogan, Will Smith, finds himself pursued by a mysterious killer that can predict his every move. Discovering that he's been hunted by a younger clone of himself, Henry needs to find out why he's been targeted and who the creator is. Now, seems like a pretty fun synopsis to me, a story that I can get behind. It was interesting, especially at the very beginning of the movie, but let's talk about its execution, if I liked it overall and all that good stuff. But as far as the likes in this movie, the good, let's go ahead and get that out of the way. Will Smith. I mean, that's pretty obvious. You probably knew I was going to say that, but the guy is fantastic. He can act in everything that he's ever done before. He can do any role. I mean, I've never seen a role where Will Smith did not give 100%. And that is the same case with his role as Henry in Gemini Man, as his older self and as his younger self. And what's very interesting about the performance is there are two completely different characters as far as their personality. You know, we're all products of our environment, raised in different ways, you know, and we're conditioned to think and act a certain way. And that was very apparent, you know, when you put these two characters up in together. You know, the older Will Smith, Henry, and we're going to call younger Will Smith Jr., or that's actually his name in the movie. You know, Henry, he's older. He's like, I think 51 years old. You know, he's seasoned. He's a vet. He has all this experience. He's trying to chill and settle down. He has a level of knowledge and wisdom that kind of humbles himself and, you know, makes you respect him more as a character in the movie and just kind of like a human being in general. You know, but Junior, you know, he is like a baby tiger out there just, I'm the best. I'm the best. You know, you see it in the trailer. He's like, clearly you're not the best because I have a gun on you. But at the same time, you know, Junior is extremely, you know, naive, you know, but he's not an idiot, you know. But that is something that I really did like about this film, is just how, even though it's the same character, Will Smith playing he's playing himself, but two different people, you know what I'm saying? You know, how, you know, different there were. I also like his execution style and his combat training. I mean, in his combat, the training was nice. You know, he's an expert master sniper. He knows how to use this gun, and all of that. So, you know, that's just pretty cool. And we've seen spy films and things like this, you know, up to the wazoo. And, if it doesn't get boring and repetitive or anything like that, it can still be entertaining. And that's just kind of the case right here. So I really do like that. And so also when you tie that into Ang Lee's directing style and the way what he was able to do with the camera in this film right here, because usually when you have an action fight movie or whatever with a bunch of choreography, me personally, I want the camera pulled back so I can actually see what's going on. I want to see the choreography of people throwing punches and blocks and blows and things of that, and I don't want I like it to be in like one shot. Not only was Ang Lee able to do that in the scene, which I'll talk about in a second, but early on in the film, some of the close hand-to-hand fighting was like really up close. Like, I mean, you're in close like this on the characters and they're moving around. And that may seem like it's frustrating, but no, you can still clearly see what's going on. And he's like zoomed in with the camera, like moving around. I'm like, oh, this is kind of cool right here. I didn't think this could work, but it's working. It's close up, but it's working and I can see what's going on. So, that was just kind of pretty dope right there. But the best part of the entire movie to me, hands down, and you've seen it in the trailer, is where, the Will Smith versus Will Smith, when they're outside, one is down here on the bike, one is up there, and they're chasing each other and jumping and flipping off buildings, doing parkour. Badass scene, most badass scene in the whole movie. You know what I'm saying? What one of them was doing with that motorbike or whatever, I was like, God damn, you know what I'm saying? He was flipping a motorbike around like it was some nunchucks, you know what I'm saying? I was like, oh shit, you know what I'm saying? I didn't know you could do that with a bike, but then like it was a nice even match, you know what I'm saying? Because, like they both in there like, you know what I'm saying? I'm the best, you know what I'm saying? And so when they doing a move and it's just like, oh shit, okay, you okay, you good too. It's I was feeling it, you know what I'm saying? And while one of them was about to get the upper hand on the other or whatever, one would dodge, just get out the way. I'm like, damn, that is like some super duper athletic move to where I was actually sitting on I was like, oh shit. I actually did that verbatim at one point. So that was real. That was the highlight of the film for me. Like, I wasn't at the edge of my seat, but I was sitting back like this, smiling, like, you know what I'm saying? So that was cool right there. And also, I just like when people get straight to the point, because we know that the older Will Smith, Henry, he's the smarter character out of these two because he has the wisdom or whatever, you know what I'm saying? And when we see in the trailers, I'm not spoiling anything for you, they look at each other and, the younger one be able to be like, oh, okay, wait a minute, why are there two of us or whatever? I'm not going to tell you what happened, but I'll just say that I like that confrontation. It made sense to me. It's like, okay, let's use our brains. You know what I'm saying? Let's figure this out here. Is someone playing us? So I just kind of like how they handled that. So Will Smith's performance, his combat style, and Lee's, work with the camera, the score was pretty decent. That whole motorcycle chase fight scene between the two and the dialogue in between them are the stuff that I liked in this movie. Now, the one more thing that I liked as far as the older Will Smith and the younger Will Smith is the CGI. I thought the CGI was effective. At that point, convincing you that this is a younger version of Will Smith, I thought they did a great job there. All right, so that's the good. Let's go ahead and get into the bad. Some of the things that I did not like. So y'all remember of course you remember the other Will Smith movie. What was it called? I'm up here asking y'all, do y'all remember? And I can't even remember right now. Goodness gracious, what's the movie where he was with the zombies or whatever? I'm finna look this up right in the middle of my thing. I can't remember the name of the film, and y'all are probably screaming at me right now. Brandon, how you not remember what it is? Where is it? I Am Legend. There we go. I would not have remembered that. I Am Legend. One of the things that really disappointed me about that film was the CGI zombies or whatever. It in contrast with the real photorealistic, Will Smith and texture, environment, stuff like that. It was just really jarring. That is the same exact problem that I had with this movie right here. Because when the fight of Will Smith versus Will Smith in the daytime, perfect. I mean, Ang Lee and Will Smith, y'all did, and both Will Smiths, y'all did that great job. But the other fight scene where they're in the catacombs, it was trash. It was horrible. That CGI was garbage. It was CGI beings. Like, it wasn't real people. I mean, it didn't look real at all. You can tell it was a computer. Like, it was just sloppy. And I'm just sitting, I could not get into it at all. Even though the choreography was nice and they jumping off walls and kicking and doing all types of martial arts acrobatics or whatever, it just did not look real. And I was just like, man, what the F happened? Okay, I was feeling it before, but I'm just not feeling that right now. Also, I like complex plots and stories, but only if it's necessary. And, you know, I was able to read between the lines and see, they're like, what are y'all doing? Y'all are trying to make this just too complicated for no reason. Just make it edgy. Like, they just keep name dropping people that they only show brief frames of previous scenes before. Like, you're supposed to remember. And I'm just like, okay, this is just nothing but babble. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, when you rip all this away, the plot of the story is really condensed to really nothing. If you took Will Smith away, and then if you took the CGI element away, this is something that we've seen a billion times. The story in this film is extremely weak. It really just isn't one. And there's tropes that you've seen before, like, okay, Clive Owen is the villain in this film. That's basically obvious. And the film does do a very great job of making you have a disdain for his character. I mean, he's basically like a slave master. I mean, his name in the movie, what is his name in the movie? Clive Garvis or something like that. But it should have been slave master, because the relationship that he has with the younger Will Smith Jr. is very disgusting and very manipulative. Hey, be a good little slave black boy and you get these butter biscuits, you know, and I'm obviously lying to you, but you have nobody else. Listen to me. I know what's best. That's just how I was feeling with his relationship with, Junior. But I feel like, I digress. But the story itself, when you take away the CGI element, when you take away the story, when you take away the CGI and Will Smith, there's just really not that much story there. Just somebody wanting to create clones, for world domination. Now, I say world domination, but I'm throwing that in myself because the film really doesn't justify, what he's doing this for. He just doesn't. And it's really annoying and it's not convincing at all. One other thing is, I wrote down in my notes, who is the strongest? Because you have Will Smith, Henry, the older guy. Clive Owen creates a clone of the older Will Smith, to have all the same skills, but none of the weaknesses like, compassion, or conscience and things like that. But then why is Clive Owen able to, I don't want to spoil anything, but there's just certain characters that are able to beat up or manhandle other characters that are supposed to be the strongest in this movie. And it's like, okay, what's the point? Do it yourself then. Or like, I don't know. Now, I was ready to give this film maybe like a 7.5 out of 10 because of those things that I just listed. But I saw this last night and I had to think about it because it was just something that just was not sitting with me and it clicked. There is a giant gaping plot hole in this movie that makes me drop this rating down to a non-passing grade. So I just have to be honest with you. And it's so glaring. I just don't understand it. I'm not going to tell it to you here because I don't want to spoil anything for you. But what I will do is leave it after the credits, like after I sign off and all that. It'll be after that or whatever. So stay tuned after the credits of this video if you want the mullet edition spoiler of this movie that makes me just drop this down. But guys, there were some things that I like Will Smith. I like Ang Lee's direction with the camera. I like the combat styles, and I like the fight in the daytime with the motorbikes and things like that. However, this story was completely, the last 5 minutes, like while the CGI people were bad, but the face was good. The last 5 minutes of this movie, some of the worst CGI I've ever seen in my life. I'm so dead serious. I'll leave that after in the credits too. Y'all remember the Scorpion King? How bad that CGI was because they literally didn't finish the movie. They ran out of time, so they just had to put out what they did. It wasn't that bad, but I was sitting myself like, what the F is going on? People were complaining about the CGI in It Chapter 2. I didn't know what they was talking about. I didn't see it. But in this movie right here, the last 3 to 5 minutes of this movie, horrible, atrocious CGI. So when you tie that in with the big gaping plot hole, which I'm going to list later on, you will understand my rating. So guys, that's just how I feel about the movie. I'm just being honest with you. If I had to rate Gemini Man out of a 1 out of 10, I'm going to give this a 5.5 out of 10. Yes, a 5.5 out of 10. And so just being honest, I know that may be disappointing to you. I'm disappointed as well because I mean, I'm a big Will Smith fan, but you know, I got to keep it real here. So please let me know what you think of the movie. If you've seen it, let me know if you want to see the movie. Let me know what you think about my review. And also, please let me know what is your favorite Will Smith film. You know, hopefully Bad Boys 3, which comes out in January in a few months, will be much better than this. But guys, that is just my opinion. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you like this video, please go ahead and give me the thumbs up and also subscribe to the channel and click that notification bell. And also, guys, you can look me up on social media because it's free. But again, guys, I just want to thank you so much for tuning into my opinion/review for Gemini Man, starring Will Smith, directed by Ang Lee. And before you go, don't forget that my name is Brandon Keith Avery, and that's just my opinion. Peace. All right, hey guys, welcome back. This is the spoiler part of Gemini Man, like I said. So if you have not seen Gemini Man and you don't want to be spoiled, don't watch this part right here because I'm going to spoil these two little parts right here. So you have been warned. Now, earlier when I just said that the last 3 to 5 minutes was the worst CGI as well, that's because both Will Smith characters were walking together. So they both lived through this. You know, I didn't want to spoil that earlier. Like, you know, Brandon, I didn't know if both of them were going to live through this or one was going to die, yada, yada. Well, they both lived, but as they're walking through this school campus, this college campus, you know, you have the older Will Smith, Henry, but then you have the younger Will Smith, Jr. And Jr., the CGI and the whole thing just looks ridiculous. It looks like a Sims video game, just the way he's like walking around, just his face. You can see the shadows on his face. Like, look at Will Smith's face. I mean, look at Henry's face and look at Jr.'s face. It's just so different. Like the sweat and like the glare and the shadows and the light is just so blatantly obvious. I just thought that was horrible. I didn't know. I'm like, this is just a really piss poor job right here. But what didn't make sense to me is early on in the film, Will Smith was talking to one of the guys and he was like, okay, hey, if this Gemini program has gone rogue and we have this Russian, or he thought it was a terrorist, this Russian scientist or whatever, engineer that's doing this, and you know he's gonna leave or whatever, why don't you just send a missile and blow up the he's like, why don't you just send a missile and blow up the facility so they can't continue with the program? And the dude was like, well, you're the missile. Well, this is where I was saying that the film called out his own plot point, because later on, you know, Henry was just kind of saying to himself, okay, hey, you know, why do they always know where I am? You know, and then Junior said that there's a chip in his arm. So if they already know always where he is because he has a chip in his arm, they can track him. Why don't they just send a missile to blow him up? Why do they have to send Junior in there to do it? That isn't, I mean, and Clive Owen said himself, like, why do you keep failing to kill one man? We already know where he is. Just send the goddamn missile over there and blow his ass up. You want the other person dead too? I don't get it. I just don't get it. I mean, you have drones. I mean, they had one scene earlier in the movie where they were practicing at their compound and one guy was running with his gun and he threw a drone up in the air and it just started floating or whatever. Y'all have the technology. You're making freaking clones. So you putting trackers in people's arm. Henry, the best assassin in the land, don't even know he got a tracker in him. You know what I'm saying? Don't even know about the clone program. But you can't send a missile over there. Now, am I missing something here? Also, now it could have been like, okay, well, I wanted Junior to kill him because that's part of his mission, but that was never part of Junior's mission to begin with until they did the they spied on him in the boat and got the audio when they thought he got when no dude told him something classified. So I mean, when you're sending Junior to go kill him, I don't understand why you couldn't just send a bunch of missiles or drones over there to kill him. That just didn't make sense to me. And if I'm wrong, please let me know down in the comment section below. But that was just a big plot hole to me. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you next time. Peace.